you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream.
What up, Dream Team? Coach D here coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego, and welcome back to the Livin the Dream Podcast, where today we cover the topic of training in order to help you reach for your health, fitness, and wellness goals in order to live your dream life. And today we're talking about a game changer for shoulder health. We will be talking about perfect hangs. First, shoulder pain has become a massive issue for the fitness and athletic community today. And I see it in the general public all the time. Surveys show that at any given time, 1 in 4 people, 1 in 4 are suffering from shoulder pain, which is lowering their quality of life. And it's easy to understand why. People are sitting more today than ever before. We often sit at work, we sit at school, we sit in the car. We even sit when we're relaxing in the same position that we're in all day long. These heavily cushioned chairs and couches, they take weight off of your joints. And when you take weight off of your joints, just like astronauts in space, they atrophy. And if you do not use it, you will lose it. Over time, this puts you into this slouched position with your spine rolled forward and your shoulders going into this rounded upper cross syndrome posture. This pervasive sitting is on its own enough to cause rounded shoulder posture, shoulder pain, and in turn, shoulder impingement. However, in the case of athletes and fitness enthusiasts, it goes to the next level. These rounded and impinged shoulders are put through the ringer when you add in throwing motions, overhead lifts, and often, a lot of the times, you'll see that bodybuilding style of isolation work. This just wears and tears the joint down as well. This causes excessive wear and tear because the joint has no space to move freely. Instead, the impinged joint is subjected to pinching and shearing forces, and these are just beyond the body's ability to heal itself. This results in AC tears. You have a joint called your AC joint. It results in AC tears, rotator cuff tendonitis, which many of you may be familiar with, biceps tendon tears or tendonitis. A lot of times when people feel that little pinching feeling in the front of their shoulder when they do bench press or shoulder press, that's coming from bicep tendon tears or tendonitis. You could experience a host of other shoulder-related issues, but no matter what you're going through, today we're going to talk about how to help address a wide range of shoulder issues by talking about just one incredibly impactful exercise. If we can first talk about this road to having functional shoulders. Mechanically speaking, the primary function of your shoulders are lost due to the forward rounded shoulder posture that we see. And this is because of a loss of space inside the joint itself, as well as a loss of shoulder blade control and function. If you've ever seen a X-ray moving when someone has their arm in an X-ray and you can move it and you can see what the shoulder is doing, the arm bone moves in the joint along with the shoulder blade. And a lot of times our shoulder blade has no control or function because we really don't ask it to do that movement very often. There are many ways to address these issues, but they all require the lengthening of short, tight, anterior muscles, which are on the front side of your body. If we can lengthen those short, tight muscles in the front of your body and strengthen the weakened backside muscles, also called posterior muscles, if we can strengthen the back muscles and stretch the front muscles, we may be able to address these issues. And a good trainer or physical therapist, they could develop a program to assist in the training, and a knowledgeable neuromuscular therapist or sports massage therapist could loosen the tight muscles and help you create space in the joint again. And while enlisting the help of professionals is oftentimes super, super helpful, it could be time consuming, it could be expensive, and it might even be unnecessary. A number of people who walk into my gym, when they talk about shoulder pain, they really haven't caused enough damage to warrant the money that they're spending on maybe surgery or years of physical therapy. Instead, they might be at this early stage in which a few simple interventions are likely enough to open up the shoulders and stop the pain. So can you do this on your own? And some of you might be thinking, man, I've had this shoulder pain for years and years, and it may be too far down the road for you to do on your own, but it doesn't hurt to try. And if you try this and it doesn't work, it's a free thing to try. It just takes a few weeks to see if it's even getting better. And then you can start to enlist the help of a physical therapist, or maybe even consider going down the surgical route. The simplest and most common interventions that I suggest is an exercise called the shoulder dislocate, and then also hanging from a bar. Both of these simple exercises help to create a mind-body connection with the shoulder blades while increasing the muscle tone and controlling the area and stretching the tight front muscles. Both can be used as warm-ups, and both can be added to nearly any fitness routine, as they don't even cause much strain on the muscles when you do them. So let's talk about shoulder dislocates. It sounds crazy, it sounds painful, it sounds not very productive, but it's just the name of this exercise. It's actually super helpful. Shoulder dislocates are performed with a loose, flexible material. So something like an elastic band or a long towel, or with a rigid broomstick, PVC pipe, anything like that will do. You want it to be about 4 feet long though. I recommend beginning with maybe like a workout band, as it's a little bit more forgiving at first. It's going to be easier to perform correctly the more you do it, but the first time that you do it, it's going to be a little bit sticky. It's going to be a little bit weird. And then you'll slowly start to get better at it, just like any skill. So to perform the dislocate, all you have to do is stand up tall. You want both hands wrapped around this band or staff. So you want to be grabbing it on either end. And I really recommend starting wide. So start with your hands really wide. Then the movement starts as you start to take your arms straight, and you're going to take this object up and over your head and around until it comes and it touches your back. The movement ends at the low back before starting to reverse it and bringing it back over your head, and once again down to where the starting position is, your waist. So you're starting with this object in your front, both hands on either end, and then you're going to take it up and over with your arms straight, trying not to bend the elbows as much as you can, taking it all the way around, tapping your back, your low back, or your glutes, and then coming up and over and around. Be mindful of your form here, as this can really create a little bit of impingement in the shoulder if done improperly. It could create a little bit of pain, and hopefully not, but it could create injury. So be sure to follow these guidelines. You want to keep the arms straight. The most common failure that I see is beginners bending the elbows in order to maneuver around their lack of mobility. This defeats the purpose. So if you find yourself doing this, just widen your grip. Take your grip even wider until you can finish the movement with your arms straight. If there's no pain, then you're good. But if there is pain, you got to stop. Widen the grip and slowly try again. If the pain persists, you may need attention from a professional before doing this exercise. So you may need to have someone that knows what they're doing take a look at you and see maybe what's going on with you. Control your shoulder blades, as this will teach control. It will build the muscle and the position of the shoulder joint for maximum mobility. As the arms go overhead, you must begin by drawing the shoulder blades down. In order for you to complete this movement, the shoulder blades have to come down. And often they may even need to be squeezed a little bit into the ribs by the serratus anterior muscle, which is just a feather-like muscle that is, you can see it really good when people have big, strong six packs. It's right on their rib cage. It's also called the puncher's muscle. You can see it, this feather-like structure right below the pecs. So you want to take those shoulder blades down, and it's going to kind of puff up your chest a little bit, which will engage those serratus anterior muscles. And we can talk about that in another topic, another time. Love the serratus anterior muscle. It's one of my favorite muscles. Also, progress by moving the hands closer together. So if I want to get a little bit better at this movement, I'm slowly going to inch my hands closer and closer together. Though this is going to change based on the individual and the current level of tension in the shoulders. So this is what I do. I start wide and I do a couple of reps, and then I slowly bring my hands together, and then I do a couple of reps, and then I go until I feel like I'm getting either a pain in my shoulder, or I feel like I don't have the mobility to do it. And then I can see the next time that I do it, or months down the road, am I even getting any better at this? Are my shoulders becoming any more mobile? You could do this for time, perform for 30 to 60 second sets, continuously moving those arms back and forth through the motion in order to get blood flowing through the joint, in order to really teach your body how to move properly. After this, you can also perform it as a static stretch at the top of the movement, or even where you feel the biggest chest stretch back behind your head. So take a nice long PVC pipe, or if you want, I like for beginners to use a long elastic band, because the band actually, you can stretch the band out to really fit exactly where you want your arms to go. Now, the better you get at this, the more you want a rigid object, because you don't want that thing stretching out. You really want to force the mobility of this move with a more rigid object once you get a little bit more hang of the exercise. Let's talk about bar hanging. Bar hanging. Shoulder dislocates are a great warm-up for shoulder mobility, but I often use hanging for the bulk of my shoulder stretch and scapular strength. It feels great on the shoulders, it makes me stand taller, and it even decompresses my spine. In fact, hanging is something that is quite natural to human nature, though today it's way less common in our Western nations, and many populations around the world have lost the ability to hang. Although many populations around the world still climb trees and hang from branches to acquire fruit, and they still have the ability to really grip and hang and swing, which is something that I really want to be able to do as I get older. So it's something that you have to put into your everyday if it's something that you don't want to lose. In fact, the human shoulder is capable of more range of motion than almost any other animal in the world, with the exception of maybe some of the great apes and the monkeys. One of the things that separates humans from animals is our ability to throw things with high accuracy and high power and speed, but we're losing it as we don't use it. Our shoulders are designed to easily go overhead for things like reaching, throwing, climbing, and hanging. And because of this, hanging is one of those interventions that the body rarely fights against. Certainly, anything can be overdone, of course, and hanging is no exception. You have to meet yourself where you're at, you have to slowly build up to it, and you have to progress over time. But I find my body and those of my clients seem to immediately take well to the act of hanging. The postural improvements are often noticeable almost immediately and continue to improve if practiced over the long run. Give it a try, and I'll wager that your body thanks you very quickly by feeling and performing better. To get the most of it, though, it's important to understand the two primary goals of hanging and the two basic types of hanging that accomplish these goals. The first type of hang is called the dead hang. The dead hang is what most people think of when they imagine hanging from a bar. You simply grab onto the bar with an overhand grip, with arms slightly wider than shoulder width apart, and they allow the body to hang completely. The only tension will be in the hands and the forearms to maintain your grip. The rest of the body allows gravity to pull it towards the ground. Shoulders will be elevated up near the ears, and shoulder blades will be rotated up. You're just hanging dead. Grip and forearms are the only thing working. The primary goal of this hang is to stretch the shoulders and upper body while decompressing the spine and opening the rib cage. This will lengthen the pecs, lats, rhomboids, delts, and teres major, all the muscles of the upper body. The end result will be better shoulder mobility, especially in the overhead position, and a straighter spinal posture. It will also help to strengthen your fascial system. You have fascia that surrounds your muscles, and this fascia is a huge part of your posture. It starts to glue itself together, but when you can get your fascia to be lengthened and strong and be able to adapt to the forces that the dead hang gives, this is a game changer for shoulder health. This hang can be performed for 30 seconds up to 2 minutes. I've seen people go much longer, but I haven't really seen much benefit from increasing your time past 2 minutes. And there's always the potential of injury the longer you go, as there is with any kind of style of excessive static stretching. Now, I see this all the time. I try to get people to do dead hangs and they can't even hang for 30 seconds. If you're unable to hold your body weight up for 30 seconds, you have some work to do. We've talked about this on previous episodes. Your grip strength is a direct indicator of how long you will live. It's not because grip strength is any proxy for anything crazy, like you need to be able to, holding someone's hand really, really hard is going to help you live longer. No, it's because your grip strength is a direct indicator of how strong your nervous system is, how strong your muscles are. And as we get older, we end up inevitably falling, not being able to help ourselves up. Our bones are brittle and fragile, and it's just a cascade of fragility that causes us to an early death. So if you can work on your grip strength, all of your other lifts will get stronger. You will be more independent in life. You will probably move around and carry things a little bit more. And it's just an upward spiral of being more independent and strong as you go into your later years. And remember that if you're 20 years old or 30 years old right now, you are trying to put money in the bank to invest, because at a certain point, you're going to hit your peak and then it's all the decline from there. You're trying to make that peak as high as you can before you start declining, and you're trying to make that decline as slow and as long as you can for an active health span. And hanging and grip strength is a huge, huge thing to do in order to make that happen. So there's the dead hang. And the second variation is called the active hang. Now, the active hang is the yang to the dead hang's yin. So it's an active more than a passive. It is the hang when you strengthen the muscles surrounding the shoulder blades and help the mind map out the ideal shoulder position for stability and strength training. When coaching men's gymnastics, the young athletes spend ample time at practice drilling this position so that the shoulder blades and the grip become strong enough to withstand further calisthenic progressions on the bar or on parallel bars or rings or whatever the case may be. It is the foundation upon which further bar work is built, because without this shoulder blade control and this shoulder blade strength, without the control of your scapula or the strength of your scapula, none of the other bar movements can be done safely. So the primary goal of the active hang is shoulder control and strength, while also strengthening the grip, the lats, and the core, just like the dead hang. The end result is a functional foundation of shoulder strength, control, and stability, which will serve the individual in all overhead positions, anything you do overhead, while also actively pulling the shoulder blades back and out of the rounded shoulder position. So I recommend doing your active hangs, performing maybe 2 to 3 sets of 30 to 60 seconds for just a little bit while you're beginning. Again, I've seen some people perform this active hang for much longer than a minute, but honestly, most of the gains developed by the active hang could just as easily be gained by progressing into the other hanging variations and maybe even adding weight at a certain point. So I would say once you get to a minute of active hangs, you can start to do other pull-up variations. So active hangs, think about in a dead hang, your shoulders are next to your ears, your shoulder blades are rolled upwards. That active hang, all you're going to do is keeping your arms locked out straight. You're going to try and pull your shoulder blades down into your back pockets. Your shoulders are going to come away from your ears. You're going to lengthen your neck. It is a very active position. I almost like to think about bending the bar that I'm hanging on and showing my armpits to the front, and you'll really feel this kind of like hollow hold position where your core is engaged, everything is active. Man, it is a game changer if you can do this. And if you can't really visualize what I'm talking about, all you have to do is go on YouTube and Google dead hang and active hang. Now, what happens if you can't even hang? If your grip can't support your entire body weight, or at least it can't do it for very long, it's okay. Simply position yourself on a bar low enough that your feet can touch the ground. You can also use resistance bands as well. If you want to buy bands on Amazon, I think they're probably like $20, $25 for a set of 6 with all different levels of resistance. But really the easiest way to do this is to find a bar that you can touch the ground with. Then hang as you normally would, but support some of your weight on your feet and squat down to put the rest of your weight into your arms. So you're kind of just like, I like to kind of think about just dipping my toe in water, and I'm just doing as much assistance as I need to be able to do this. When I tore my pec, I did this all the time because I tore my pec doing a single arm pull-up, lowering too fast, and the tissue of my pec was not ready for the force that I put it through, and it popped. In order for me to get back to that hang, I had to support my own weight. So maybe I was actually only hanging with 50 pounds, and then eventually I was helping with less and less weight until I got up to my body weight, and I would hang for 30 seconds, and then I would take a rest, and I would hang for 30. Even though back in the day, I could have dead hanged for 3 minutes. I'm eventually working my way up and up and up until I get back to that point, but it takes a lot of time, and it takes recovery, and it takes patience and progression. You can progress from there with your feet on the ground by going onto just one foot, or by putting just the tops of your feet on the ground with your knees bent. So more like the weight of your body is kind of like hanging, but then the tops of your feet are on the ground. That can put a little less help than actually putting your feet down on the ground. These options won't allow you to support as much weight on your legs, but you'll still get some support. Build up until you don't need to use your legs anymore. You can also use lifting straps to help with grip strength. So they do have these straps that you can wrap around your wrist, and then you wrap around the bar and you hold the strap, and it really helps. This is a Band-Aid for your grip. So if your grip is not strong enough, but you need to be dead hanging, you can go on Amazon, go on any kind of fitness website and search lifting straps or wrist straps, and you can use these as well. But do not count on these. Do not use these. It's just like if you were to use a back brace when lifting. If you were to wear a back brace all of your life, your core muscles and your back muscles would atrophy, and then you would absolutely become dependent on that back brace. It's the same thing with your grip. I used to use gloves when I was lifting, and those gloves, sure, they saved my hands from a little bit of getting beat up a little bit, but as soon as I tried to carry anything without the gloves, I was so weak. I had been Band-Aiding something that I could have been slowly progressing. Remember, every time you lift any type of exercise, you're going to have a weak link. If you deadlift, it's probably going to be your grip. If you dead hang, it's probably going to be your grip, your forearms, maybe your shoulders. If you squat, it might be your knees or your hips. These weak links are your weak links, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So do you use a Band-Aid, or do you fix that weak link? Yes, it's going to take longer. Yes, it's going to take more time. Yes, it's probably going to be tedious, but you need to do it. It is a necessity to be able to get your weak link built up so that you are overall stronger. And this is the same kind of thing. So yes, you can use lifting straps, but I highly recommend not becoming dependent on them. Now let's talk about your hand positioning and how you grip the bar. You can use an underhand grip, which is also called a reverse grip. And if you're going to do a chin up, this is the position that you're going to be putting in. This one I find that I am stronger in. This one I find that my biceps can assist a little bit more. But some people do find that this puts a little bit of stress on the elbows and the wrists. So if you do find it uncomfortable, avoid it for now, because you don't want the benefits of hanging to be negated by injuring a wrist or an elbow. But reverse grip is a great one. You could do an overhand grip, which is the standard grip that most people do. They grab the bar with their palms facing away. You usually want to start with your hands just a little bit outside of your shoulder width. This one is a little bit harder when it comes to pull-ups. It allows you to only use your lat muscles when pulling a little bit more than when you have a reverse grip. It allows the biceps to assist a little bit more. So this one is a little bit more of an advanced hang. And this grip is used a lot when we do our regular standard pull-ups. You could also use a parallel neutral grip. So I don't know if you've ever seen those doorway pull-up bars that you can buy for your house, but they usually have a wide grip option, a close grip option, and then these two little handles that are hanging out forward and back. If you grab those handles, you are now in a neutral parallel grip. So your palms are facing each other. Your pinkies are facing forward. Your thumbs are facing back towards you. This grip does require parallel bars to accommodate. So it's not really, a lot of people don't have that in their house if they just are using a bar, but this grip is the easiest on the shoulders. So I would recommend this to anyone who is having trouble with any of the other grips, and really try a parallel or neutral grip. And I think that you'll find that it's much more comfortable and it's much more easy when it comes to starting off your hanging journey. There is also a grip called a inline commando grip. And this one's a little bit harder to explain. I'm not even sure I can explain this on a podcast, but when you grip inline commando style, this grip presents a unique rotational stability challenge to the shoulders and the core, making it a really good grip to use from time to time during your active hang, especially as you get a little bit more advanced. So if you think about when you go up to a pull-up bar and you're about to do a standard pull-up where you reach up and you grab the bar with an overhand grip, instead of facing the bar, you're going to turn sideways and your eyes are going to line up in the direction of the bar. And then you just reach your hand straight up and left hand grabs on the left and right hand grabs on the right. And now you're doing the inline commando grip. Even just hanging there, you'll notice that your body wants to rotate and you have to work super hard with your core to keep your body in line and your core engaged. So definitely an advanced move there, but really cool. And the last grip we're going to talk about here is called the mixed grip. And this is a good grip for those who really find that their grip strength is their weakest link. A lot of times when you deadlift and you have an overhand grip on the deadlift, it just slips right out of your fingertips. But if you have one hand one direction and the other hand the other direction, it kind of locks that bar in place. So you can do the same thing on a pull-up bar. Walk up to the pull-up bar, left hand is a standard grip, right hand is a reverse underhand grip, and then you're locked in a little bit more. However, this does create imbalances. It's not the best. So if you do a mixed grip, you want to make sure that you switch and even out your body, both hands doing this, the underhand and the overhand. Where to hang? Most people hang from a pull-up bar in a gym or at home. But if you don't have these options, there are plenty of other ways to get your hanging in. Let's go through a short list of ideas so that you can hang anywhere. You have a pull-up bar at home. This is an obvious choice. It's only like $30 on Amazon and you can mount it anywhere. That's the option that I use. I love it. I put it in a doorway that I walk through very frequently. And every time I walk through that door, I make it a goal to either hang or do a pull-up or two, a sub-maximal effort, but still frequency is king when it comes to these bodyweight movements. You can go to a jungle gym and find bars all over on the jungle gyms out at playgrounds. You can use a ledge. Depending on the ledge or what it's made out of or how sharp it is, this one is a little less comfortable, but you can totally use a ledge. I've hung from tall retaining walls, the underside of stairs, the deckhand of rails. I've even done it off of like light posts on the street, which is, I know, probably not great. People probably don't want you to do that, but you can pretty much hang from anywhere. Doors. I've seen people hang from the back, from the top of doors, which you have to make sure that the door is secured right, but this could be an option. Tree branches. There are endless amounts of options here. Get creative. Maybe do it yourself. I've seen people put little tiny bars above the scaffolding in their garages, so a little bar hanging over the top of their thing, and they lock it in with some sort of either U-ring or something like that. For me, I loved climbing trees as a kid. How often do we climb trees? Man, next time you go out and you have the opportunity, see what it looks like for you to climb a tree and see what your grip strength does, and let's see if we can become more children-like when in that sense. Dead hangs and active hangs, they're absolute game changers when it comes to improving shoulder health, back health, and grip strength. But this episode, I want to take it up a notch with the perfect hang. This is a move that can revolutionize your shoulder health in just minutes a day. So why are perfect hangs such a big deal? This progression, also known as the activated arch hang, Go Google it right now. This takes things to a whole new level. It addresses nearly all the upper body damage caused by slouched posture, including issues with shoulder blade control, upper arm external rotation, and shoulder blade retraction, meaning shoulder blades squeezing together. The beauty of the perfect hang lies in its simplicity. By mastering this movement, you're essentially addressing all the common strength and muscle control issues associated with our modern day sitting and cell phone use. This one's a game changer, so let's break it down. To perform the dead hang, you hang and you are loose. To perform the active hang, you're doing this with active shoulder blades. You're pulling your shoulder blades down, your shoulders are out of your ear. To perform the perfect hang, you're going to start by getting into the dead hang, then the active hang, then you're going to add this. Pull your shoulder blades down and into this active lean back position. Lean your upper body back and let your torso hang passively as you pull your shoulder blades together. So I want you to imagine your hips coming out in front of you, your legs are dangling down beneath of you, and you have this nice curved upper body position. You're almost facing, your eyes are up at the bar. You're almost head, neck, shoulders parallel to the floor. Everything else is kind of drooping down. Can you hold this position 20 seconds, up to 60 seconds, feeling the squeeze around your shoulder blades before releasing and lowering yourself back down into a brief active hang, or maybe it might have to be into a dead hang. Now, here's a pro tip. Incorporate the perfect hang into your routine by starting with a dead hang and doing some shoulder warm-ups by doing scapular pull-ups, shoulder blade pull-ups. So you're essentially going from dead hang to active hang, to dead hang to active hang. Do this 8 to 10 times before finishing with 2 to 3 slow, perfect hang holds. Trust me, your shoulder blades will thank you. Start slow, start small, and then work your way up to what I just said. Incorporate this routine into your strength training regimen, and you'll notice a remarkable improvement in your shoulder blade control, your posture, your strength. Those little tiny aches and pains in the shoulders will go away. You'll stand taller, you'll move stronger, and you'll unlock the full potential of your shoulders with the perfect hang. As always, start small and start slow. If you're at a place where you can't even raise your shoulders above your head, shoulder dislocates, having someone assist you with that is really important. You can get yourself into a horizontal position and let gravity take your arms overhead. And once you find the flexibility to get into that position, then you start strengthening in that position. Once you're strong enough to hold yourself up on a bar, start with 5 to 10 seconds and do multiple reps of it. Then move from your dead hang into your active hang and see how many reps you can do in a row. Progress into, once you can do more than 10 dead to active hangs, hold that active hang for 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Once you can get an active hang for 60 seconds, you are ready for the perfect hang. Lean back, squeeze your shoulder blades like you're almost doing a barbell row, but with your arms overhead, and you're really trying to keep all the muscles of your upper back tight and squeezed. It's literally the opposite position that you're in when you're in a slouch forward position. And hold that perfect hang for time, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, up to 60 seconds, and then do sets of those. That is going to be a game changer. If you found this information helpful, please be sure to let me know if it worked for you. And as always, keep moving forward on your fitness journey. You can do this. You are the CEO of your own health. Don't let the name of your injury define who you are. Do not let that injury become a piece of your identity forever. It doesn't have to be forever. You're in charge. And that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this Training Tuesday episode of the Livin the Dream podcast. Please share the knowledge that you gain with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. If you enjoyed this content, it helps us a ton. It's a nice non-cost way to support this podcast. If you could post a screenshot of this episode and
Include one takeaway that you learned and make sure that you tag me and share your journey. Tag me at Livin the Dream _podcast or at Coach Damien _SD and let us know how this episode benefited you. Let us know what we missed. Let us know what we got wrong. Tell us if you have overcome your shoulder pain or if you have had experience with hanging and its benefits. We want to know. Message us if you have any suggestions or tips that you would help your Livin the Dream team that we can discuss on future episodes. And I will be right here with you, working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.